We invite you to enjoy your tea for this last minute before we get started. Center yourself, joining the space. Hi everybody, how's everyone doing?
I'm doing good.
So welcome to our final day of A Time to Bloom. Today we're closing out the season by closing the life cycle of the plant. We've gone from seed to germination, interacting with its environment, to gathering energy from everywhere in our environment to grow to full maturity, which is the reproductive stage. Now we have seeded ourselves and we're ready to drop more seeds into the next cycle of our existence. What better botanical to close out today than with, if anybody has guessed, is the dandelion. Because most of us usually see two different plants. We see the flower, the yellow flower, or we see the little white flower with all the feathery seeds flying everywhere. We don't recognize that that's also part of the cycle of the plant.
So this is the moment where we share what's in our cup and maybe what's on our heart, if you feel like sharing what's in your heart today. So Leslie and I are drinking a beautiful herbal tea made of white willow bark, peppermint, some rosebuds, and there's one more.
Jasmine.
And some jasmine flowers.
Buds.
Yeah, so very blossomful tea.
Wow.
Here.
And I got my hair like a dandelion. That's part of it.
I'm feeling very peaceful and optimistic today, so that's the part. Yeah, I'm happy to share.
I'm dandelion head, and that's how I feel, blowing in the wind.
Yeah, that's a good flower for today.
Hi,
Hey.
Mom.
Morning. Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you.
What are you drinking today?
Cappuccino.
Cappuccino.
Okay.
Okay, so we can put on our face mask now. If anybody, you could use any one you like. I think today I'm gonna go with a detox. I'm gonna do the tea tree charcoal clay. You could use the same if you like. Sure, that sounds great.
I'm gonna do the choco vanilla. I
Cocoa
feel like
vanilla.
this cocoa. Yep. I feel like ice cream.
I'm going to do the tea tree.
Tea tree, same as me.
And also, feel free to share what's in your cup if you haven't yet and you'd like to, while we administer these masks.
Well, what's in my cup is green tea. It's a little deceiving because this cup says Starbucks, but it's not Starbucks green tea. And I started off my morning by watering the plants in my garden and then taking a brisk walk slightly before coming online.
Yay.
So there's a lot of love in my cup, a lot of sunshine. I see my beautiful daughter out there, and Leslie, whom I've known for years. and the other women out here. It's just beautiful being together. So
Thank you,
Thank
Mary.
you. Same here.
fills my cup.
Where do you live, Mary?
In Diamond Bar, California.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I'm using my matcha mint and my cup. I've got some H2O.
Yeah, hydrate.
I'm with you, Whitney.
Whitney is inspiring with her water consumption. She makes sure to water herself a lot daily. She does, she has like a big jug or cup, right? That you make sure to finish most days.
Oh, wow.
I usually do about, I would say, I think I usually do 80 ounces of water and then like 40 ounces of herbal tea every day, usually.
Wow.
Just like past couple of weeks, so I'm trying to get back on it.
Boy, I'd be staying in the bathroom.
Oh yeah,
I
I'd
agree.
be afraid to sneeze.
I mean, I might as just make my home there.
I agree with you.
Yeah, no sneezing, right, Lynn?
Uh,
Well, I've got my favorite matcha green tea
Mm.
in my sister's cup that she gave me,
It's
Yay.
beautiful.
and
Oh, it has flowers on it.
yeah, it's my favorite
I
little
hope
cup.
that-
It's very special. But just
Beautiful.
enjoying the day and looking forward to this little session every Saturday. It's just like just reviving and relaxing and calming, and I get to see my Leslie.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's what it's all about. I'm so glad.
But
Before-
cheers to all of you and have a beautiful day.
Thank you. You too.
Same to you.
What's that? Oh, the
Sorry,
musical.
I'm making some. I have all my mothers from my childhood on here today.
Wonderful.
Spent some time at her house. But yeah, we got Mother's Day gifts to Monique August, mother.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, she ordered 4. She said she has 4 moms, and so I made
Aw.
4. I'm gift wrapping them and mailing them after this. 4
Oh, wow.
Mother's Day sets. Yeah, those are sugar
Wow.
soaps. And then I also
Yeah.
have the bath bombs going, and a candle, and aromatherapy, shower steamers, and a one of these mini face masks going out to each one
Oh,
of
how
them.
nice. That,
She's on a roll.
I'm glad she connected with you.
Yeah, she's awesome. I'm gonna give her a call again today. Yeah. Okay, so I'll share now. We'll get started in our learning session, and then we'll get into our therapy. I want to make sure we have ample time in our therapy session today.
Okay.
I have an instant suntan.
And your skin should be bright afterwards too, because it helps to cleanse really deep with these clays. So it'll drag out any impurities. That's why people think charcoal makes their face look brighter or gets rid of scars, when really it's just doing a really deep cleanse.
Okay.
Same
Thank
thing
you.
when you use it with like the charcoal toothpaste and stuff, when you see that.
Good to know.
All right, here we go.
Today we're looking at the varied and unique ways plants disperse their seeds, from dramatically exploding out of a pod to unceremoniously dropping to the ground inside a fruit. We're going to pay close attention to the dandelion, which utilizes the wind's natural air currents to spread its seeds near and far. It's the dandelion's most famous characteristic, and also a perfect example of impermanence. The idea that everything is constantly changing in our minds, our bodies, and the world around us. Let us go back to an earlier time in our life, childhood, when we carefully plucked a long stem topped by a sphere of white from the green grass, pausing for a suspenseful moment to study it. We then blew and watched in amazement as its feathery particles detached, separated in the air. But to where? Well, some of those white fuzzy seeds, or pappus, descended immediately to the ground in front of us after travelling only a few feet, while others catch updrafts, eddies of air currents, and are carried much, much farther, sometimes more than a kilometre away. If we follow one of those seeds to its landing, we can see in a mere 2 to 3 weeks' time the appearance of a ring of yellow-green leaves radiating out from a centre. What we can't see is a taproot growing from its base deeper and deeper down, eventually reaching a length of 6 to 18 inches underground. At the surface, the maturing plant's leaves begin to change from smooth-edged to jagged pattern, resembling teeth to some, hence the French origin of its name, Dandelion, tooth of the lion, or dandelion. A bud emerges from the upper part of the root, and its stem elongates, occasionally reaching up to 12 inches tall. The flower head that opens from the bud is a brilliant yellow, with many thin florets. For a couple of days, the sun-coloured flower behaves like the sun itself, opening in the daytime and closing at night. After the flower head closes for its last time, however, and 1 to 2 more weeks pass, a new sight appears, a white blowball or seed head with its roughly 200 seeds. Each seed is attached to a cluster of feathery bristles which act like a parachute. They're so lightweight, even a gentle updraft can lift up this parachute and allow the seed to ride the wind. And with the next gusty breeze, or in the hands of a fascinated young child, off these seeds will go to start a new cycle in the life of the dandelion. And so, as you go about your day, consider the seeds of the dandelion floating far from home, taking root, blossoming in a quick burst of colour, and then floating again. It may not always be in bloom, but the continuous cycle of change means the sunny days are never too far away.
Wasn't that lovely?
That's interesting.
Anything anyone took from that video that they'd like to share? Something that interested or stuck with you?
I never thought of them as the same plant, as the same flower.
Yeah, me
That's
too.
weird.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Something that struck me was I didn't realize that they close, and then 1 to 2 weeks later is when they turn into their little seed poofs. So to me, that's kind of poignant, is like even the transition from like one to another, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, and sometimes we don't see what's happening. So that's kind of what I noticed.
Well, yeah, to me also was a connection to what you had said last week, Bayray, about how like we're, and I don't want to misquote you, but like this, that we are either like blooming or getting ready to bloom, and how like when I think about the dandelion, when it's white and like, that sort of like magical, like that's what makes the dandelion. And so thinking about how in order to achieve that state, it had to close and rest and do like there was effort beyond just like the pretty that went into the plant. Yeah.
Just like the caterpillar to the butterfly
Cocoon.
when it's in the chrysalis and then comes out to be a beautiful butterfly, and it's resting in between.
Yeah,
Mm.
I love it.
They don't have the labor pains that we do, though.
No. Not that we know of.
Not that we know. The more we're learning about plants, the more sentience we notice.
Yeah, I wish it was that easy for us.
That's the only thing that got me through it was like, just think of the end result. You're going to have a beautiful baby. Just think of the end result.
I know.
Oh, and then one other thing that I wanted to point out is that I know growing up around here anyway, where it's really hard to keep a lawn, I grew up people calling dandelions weeds. And so I just wanted to point out that the word weed doesn't necessarily mean, weed means that you don't want it in your garden or you don't want it in your lawn. And so dandelion is not intrinsically undesirable. It's not intrinsically a weed. It's actually a really useful, magical plant, as we just saw and as we may already know. So just throwing that out there, that sometimes things get a bad reputation or get associated with something negative, and that's not always, we don't always have to take that at face value, because sometimes if we look a little deeper, we see.
And I think that's beautiful, because weeds, in a sense, they're those plants that just grow wild. You know, they're keep
hardy.
growing, you know.
Nothing stops them.
It's just like some people, some people you just want to overlook them, but they're really beautiful people on the inside, and just need a chance to bloom and be nurtured. So, yeah, the same way.
Dandelion has a lot of beneficial nutritions to it.
Oh yes.
So,
It's diuretic. It can help to cleanse the body of water. Like if you're holding on to excess water or bloating and things like that, it kind of gets things moving too. Dandelion as a tea. So you don't want to take. You want to be careful. Don't take it with other diuretics that you may be taking. But it's a good tea.
Yeah.
A natural solution for that.
That's good.
it's very good for you.
And it's amazing too. It seems like they know when it's time to rest, right? So when the sun goes down, they close, and then when the sun comes up, they open.
Knowing when to rest.
Yeah.
So,
Rest.
I think that's.
Wouldn't it be nice for moms to do that?
Okay.
Close. Don't bother me.
Don't bother.
Oh yeah.
Till I open.
Mom is closed for the night. Try again in the dawn.
Hey sister. Hey sis. Go like this. Okay.
I can't see you. I can't hear you. I don't know you're there.
my time.
Let's start taking off our face mask so we can light our candle and enter into our discussion. But we can continue the conversation as we.
I forgot to bring my water. I'll be right back.
And if you haven't already, or if you don't do this already, I always like to smell things before I drink or light them.
Yeah, I do too. Why are you laughing?
Because you always smell everything.
You know what? I grew, it was a bad habit, but it's true. Remember? I had to smell my food before I ate it. And there was one of my aunts that did that, and my grandma taught her a lesson, and she went to go smell her soup, and she pushed her nose in the soup, and she never did it again. But I always went, and then they told me that wasn't nice. And I was like,
Yeah.
When we did the fair, community garden, we had a booth, and a lady sniffed. It was the last lavender mint scrub soap, and it had the little bit of sparklies on the top from Valentine's Day. And she sniffed, she had like 3 colors of shiny mica on her nose for the rest of the night. I was like, it's still there. And she's like, oh, it's okay. And she put her mask over it. So just a little bit in review before we light our candles, our intentions from our total session. So week 1, our intention for our candle lighting was, I have everything I need. We were in the seed germinating phase. I have everything I need to nourish myself from within. Week 2 was aligning ourselves with our nature and whatever that means for you at this time. And then week 3 was I attract what serves me and repel what doesn't. And this week,
so as always, feel free to supplement whatever personal intentions that you have or have need of in your life. Our intention is to celebrate ourselves in our wholeness, the wholeness of our beings, the entirety of our beings, everything that makes us who and what we are. So
I celebrate myself. as my whole being. You're welcome.
Okay, great. So we're going to go ahead and transition into the therapy portion of the session. If today you would like to stand up, that is 100% an option, and I will let you know when that time comes. But for now, I invite you to place the hands on the body in some way that feels like you're able to connect with yourself. And Leslie's going to demonstrate on the chair while I'm standing, so that if you like to look as you follow along. And if it feels comfortable, allowing the eyes to close. And if you're sitting on a chair, then you might think about how your feet are meeting the ground, and you might even choose to activate the legs a little bit by pressing the feet into the ground. And if you're sitting in a cross-legged position like I am, then you might bring your attention to all of the parts of you that are resting against the ground. And so taking a few breaths in and out, and paying attention if you can, if you like, if it feels right, to the feeling of the breath as you breathe in, and noticing when your lungs feel all the way full, and then noticing that transition into the exhale, how it feels to breathe all the way out, and then noticing when the lungs are empty, and feeling that transition from exhale to inhale. And so taking a few breaths at your pace, and noticing these places of transitioning from one into the other. And then at a pace that feels right for you, if you'd like to join me on your feet, I'm going to go ahead and stand up now. Getting a sense for the feet can be all the way together. They can be as wide apart as slightly wider than the shoulders. We can have our toes facing straight ahead, or we can experiment with angling them out towards the corner of the room and noticing how that feels in the upper parts of the legs and the hips, for the lower back. So finding an arrangement that feels right for you. And if you're not sure, then you can experiment throughout the activity that we are about to do. And so I invite you to go ahead and plant those feet, get a sense of the feet nice and solid on the earth, maybe spreading the toes open if you're not wearing shoes. And then thinking about standing up nice and tall. And so reaching the crown of the head towards the ceiling, thinking about the roots extending even below the bottoms of your feet. And as we move our arms, feel free to sync your breath to your movement in any way that makes sense to you. Otherwise, you don't have to worry about that. It's not a requirement. But so let's go ahead and lift our arms up, and you might choose to make this your inhale or your exhale. And as we find the top, allowing our fingertips to reach for the ceiling, maybe taking a nice big breath and sighing it out. If that feels good for you. And then inviting any kind of natural wiggling or bending, maybe swaying in the breeze, but allowing for that nice extension of the side body, feeling our stems, stalks, and leaves, stretching and growing, any kind of movement that feels good for you. And then when you're ready, you might take a big breath in if you're syncing your breath with your movement. And as you breathe out, bringing the arms down, bending the knees any amount, and allowing yourselves to fold forward. Maybe even coming all the way into a squatting position. And we can use our fingers to help support us, or we can wrap our arms around our knees and give ourselves a nice squeeze, maybe tucking the chin toward the chest. And taking a moment to think about ourselves as little seeds with everything inside that we need to grow and thrive, giving the right environment. Taking a nice set of breaths here. And then at your pace, whenever you feel ready, maybe bringing the hands back to the ground if you have them wrapped around your legs, allowing the head to remain heavy and sending the tailbone back towards the ceiling. And then allowing the rest of yourself to come up, and again, bringing those arms out and up over our heads. Maybe taking a nice full breath as our arms reach the top. And then allowing our arms to come back to our sides. This is something that if you have some time while you're boiling water or waiting for your kids to get their shoes on, or whatever the case may be, that you have a few seconds or a minute or two. This kind of expansion and contraction in any amount, even if you're standing and holding yourselves in a hug. Hopefully that's something that if you feel it helps you to breathe and expand and open, that's something that we can incorporate throughout the day. And so, yeah, with that, I invite you to get back into a comfortable seated position, and Leslie's going to,
I think we could do the video. You think so?
I think so. I think we have time.
Yes, that's a great reset. It realigns like all three centers with the bending and the stretching up and the bending. So
That felt great.
awesome. Share one more thing with you. So we're gonna close our cycle with our first inspirational video for this season, which was the sunflower time lapse. This is 83 days and 2 minutes from seed to flower.
Wow. Wow.
Beautiful.
Thank you everyone so much, and my personal hope, if you take one thing away from this, I hope it's that knowing that we have everything within us already.